What up, guys? It's Organically Natural, and I am here with another video. I am coming on to talk about, well, I started the video out in the garden today, and I was talking about winter gardening, and it was chilly out and my phone died, so I'm going to finish it here. I believe that the last thing I was talking about was planning out my garden and how I want to do it. I'm getting ready to purchase some bricks and some things to finish up the sidewalks, and then I'm gonna lay out my all of my planters that we purchased this year. We got stellar deals on those. A couple of them I got through QVC so that I can do monthly payments on those because they were a little bit more pricier. The other two I saved up for over the last year so that I can get those. And then the remaining ones that we had every time I made a purchase on Amazon, they increased some little gift card that I had on there, and I just never used it in probably about 2 years. So yeah, since COVID started, because I purchased my daughter Mickey Mouse phone or iPod holder for her little iPod. Her father got it for Christmas. And every time I continued to order through them, they added to the gift card. So I had $150 worth of gift cards there. And I ended up paying about $50 with sale taxes and shipping. I don't know what that little thing is flying in this little camera, but I'm sure it's some type of fruit fly. Because as you see, we have a dehydrator behind me, and we're constantly dehydrating fruits and foods. Which is why I wanted to come on and finish up my winter conversation. Basically, I honestly don't know where I was in that video. I know I was talking about me having to move everything over because there was so much together, even though it did not affect the fruits producing and growing what they needed to grow. It still impacted the little fruits that did come on there. And I was talking about not using neem oil. I meant not using insecticides and things of that sort. We do use neem oil and a water hose. I'm trying to keep my garden as organic as I possibly can because it is a home garden and it's just important to me. And because it's right here in my front yard, it's easy for me to see. I was also touching base on the fact that if you guys are interested in gardening and you live in an apartment and you have some railings, or you live in a mobile home community or a trailer park, whatever one you want to call it, because that's what we live in, the trailer park in trailer, by choice. Then I will show you guys how we started out. We started out with some planters from the Dollar Tree. We probably picked up about 4 or 5 pots that we could afford in Walmart. And then the remaining of our stuff, including the potting soil, the little, what do you call it? The little metal shovels and things. All of that came from the Dollar Tree. We probably spent about a good, I don't know, $50 or so on purchasing supplies between Walmart and the Dollar Tree. And then we purchased 3 trees that year. We started out with a Ponderosa lemon, a key lime tree, and a contender peach tree. I remember we were completely freaked out because we didn't know what we were going to do when the frost came in after having these trees for a couple of days. So we had to do some research and found out that we didn't need to take the peach tree in because it's a stone fruit and it needs so many chill hours in the wintertime so that it can sleep and go into dormant so that it can produce the fruits come the spring. I just found out this year that I needed to prune back my trees, both my apples and my peach trees. The apples needs to be pruned, yes, with a center, what is it? You want to leave the center, like the main trunk in the center of the tree, and you want to cut the branches. You don't want any branches crossing over them, because what's going to happen is when you have your leaves grow on there, there's going to be so many leaves that you're not going to be able to, it's not going to yield the fruit that it needs to, which is one of the problems that I found out that I was having with my apple trees. I had them all together because we have 5 apple trees, 2 Granny Smiths, McIntosh, a Red Delicious, and one other one. McIntosh, Red Delicious, Granny Smiths, and one more.
Tell me all the names of them.
That's all I remember. The 4. I mean,
know the names that we named them.
Oh, I don't remember.
I know we got Granny.
Granny Smith.
No. that's-
Okay, I'm just talking about the apples right now.
Okay.
We got Mac from Macintosh, right?
Yup.
What's the other one?
We got Granny Smith.
Uh-huh.
We got
Macintosh,
Yes.
which we already talked about.
Granny Smith.
Red Delicious. And I don't know, we got another one. But we have 5 trees in total. And all 5 of those were together in a space that they didn't need to be. And between all of them being together, they were shading each other out. I had a lot of issues this year with some bugs being on them. So I haven't finished purchasing those. I purchased one, and I'm going to get 2 longer ones and put each tree on either end, and then utilize the middle for probably some of my herbs or maybe some pollinating flowers back there, so that I can increase the amount of pollinators we have in the backyard. Because what happens is we have our figs that come in immediately after the strawberry season. We don't do strawberries here. We go to the strawberry patch and pick our strawberries for the year. However, I'm hoping that they still open them this year, but with everything with COVID, we just don't know. So anywho, with the fig trees, once those come through, a lot of the yellow jackets and whatever comes in to finish up the last end of the fig trees, which kind of pushes a lot of the, the pollinators away. So I am going to have to figure out a way, because they're not in the same season. They're blooming their leaves are turning green at the same time, but I don't think I get my blooms till later. I don't know. I need to pay a little bit more attention to those, honestly, because they're in the backyard. So there aren't something that I get to walk up and see every day without setting intentions to go back there to check on them. So that is one thing that I will add to my to-do list to do this year. So I still haven't finished getting planners for those, but those will be, excuse me, something that we'll do later. Or I'll just get the 2 planters because there's 2 of those that are still sitting in the actual black containers that they came in from last year. And I would just get those 2 into those planters, and I can run up to Harbor Freight or someplace like that and pick some of those up, and then keep the other ones in the pots for this year so I can move them around and figure out what the best placement for those are. In terms of the front, I already have that mapped out. It's going to require a lot of work because I have to redo the sidewalk just because it floods. It's not that our area floods where we live. Whoever put the sidewalk in before must have ran out of supplies and came back at a later time and added 3 or 4 more additional stones. The 1x1s and the other ones are 2x2s. I don't know. They added something in there. Some smaller square stones, smaller than the 4x4 pavers. Unfortunately, when they put them in, they didn't get them flush with the other ones. So if it's not raining and you're not paying attention, you trip over them. And when it is raining, right where the one paver is bigger than the other one, it floods there. And honestly, if I don't go through with a shovel every now and again, you wouldn't even know that there is a sidewalk in that area, because that's where all the water pools from each side of the yards. So I'm definitely going to work on that. And then I'm going to have someone come over and look at creating a drainage system there, but I don't know yet. We'll see. What else? We just got a lot of work. I hope that you guys follow us on YouTube. We will be doing a lot of videos on YouTube for you guys to join us and watch us. Excuse the watch. I'm at the clock flashing back there. I'll get that fixed. Ha! That was my battle this morning. I woke up cleaning off the stove. A lot of people think we don't cook on this stove, but we really do. However, I come in at least twice a week, if not 3 times a week, with some baking soda. And I don't use a regular sponge with that green thing on the back. I use the, what is it, the GoDaddy, or what's it called?
The Sponge Daddy.
Sponge Daddy, sponge, something. We use those because they don't scratch your pots and pans. They don't scratch your stove top. Let me just see one right. Nope, they're all on that side. Correct. We haven't used these, but they're the same ones. We just purchased these during the holiday season, but they're called Scrub Mommy, and they have the Scrub Daddy ones in Target. I like these because this part here is not like your typical green scrubbing patch. It's scratch free. It says I'm safe on non-stick pans and other delicate surfaces. Test in a small area first. I tested on my glass top stove without even thinking about it, and I had zero problems with them scratching up my stoves, and it's honestly the trick to getting it clean. One thing that I did find is these microfiber washcloths right here. I think I got 4 or 5 in a pack for like $3 or $4 at Walmart last weekend. I utilize these, no soap, no nothing, on my stainless steel appliances, and it'll remove the grease and all of that like that. Hence why the clock is blinking. Is as you can see, there are 2 light bulbs that are in that little whatever the vent is up here. And I was cleaning them and running around them, and this has been a continual thing for about 6 or 7 months, however long the light bulbs have been up there, and I'm hitting them sideways as I'm doing it. And also we got the light bulbs from the Dollar Tree, so you get what you pay for. Long story short, the actual bulb came disconnected from the thing that you twist the actual light bulb in, so both of them were hanging by some little wire. I ended up turning off the power to the stove and this guy, the hood, and removing the light bulbs with, let me see.
You okay?
Yep. So we got these little mittens from Pampered Chef. They come with 2 in a pack for this size, which I got from my mini-me, so she can utilize those when she's getting food in and out of the air fryer. Come on, Bree. Hurry up. Get your computer. All right, there you go. All right, so she can get food in and out of the air fryer on her own. And then we also have a larger set for me. I tend to use these with her because these are actually a lot more comfortable to utilize in the kitchen than the bigger ones. I will be utilizing the bigger ones because one of the things that I want to do this year is actually get outside and start utilizing our what do you call it? Our fire pit to cook on. I'm going to pick up, and I'm going to try to build a fire pit out of wood when we're wanting to cook food with the cast iron, because I think the cast iron may be a little heavy for the fire pit, but we'll get out there and we'll see how it's going to work. I've seen a lot of videos from Simple Living Alaska, which is a very cute couple. If you guys haven't seen them, check them out on YouTube, where they do a lot of cooking in cast irons, and they do go outside and do a lot of cooking on their campfires when they can, and they do a lot of wood stove cooking because clearly they're utilizing that to heat their home throughout the winter time. And it's something that I really wanted to do, or want to do. So we're definitely going to get out there with the fire pit and utilize that. But I ended up using these little guys to untwist or to pull down the light bulbs, so if they broke, I didn't scratch or cut myself with those. And then I tried to get, it said to use a needle nose plier, but we didn't have one. I had one at some point. It's probably somewhere around the house, because you know how you pick something up, use it, and you never put it back. That's me. So I'm sure I can find it somewhere. It's just not now. But this side here was easier to just utilize my hand to twist it out. This one here, I had to use a regular plier and bend it just a little bit to shift not the actual fixture in the vent, but the actual part of the light bulb, just a little bit to get it untwisted. And then we went and brought some light bulbs that weren't from the Dollar Tree today. So that's why the light's flashing back there, and it will be fixed before my next video. I am going to clean up a little bit more tonight, and I am going to come back on because I really want to do, I got a lot of dehydrating to do. I need to dehydrate some eggplants that's been sitting in the refrigerator for a couple of weeks. I need to dehydrate some lemongrass. Yes, lemongrass that's been sitting in the refrigerator for about a week now. And I got a story on that. Show you guys where to get your things that are a little bit cheaper than what you're paying right now. What else? We got a lot to do. There's plenty in that refrigerator. I need to juice some apples. I'm going to make some apple jelly. A lot of recipes that I've seen on YouTube, they just use organic apple juice without any added sugars. But we have 2 huge bags of apples, some Granny Smith apples, and I don't know what the other ones are. They're red apples. And we really need to get rid of those and utilize those. So I am going to juice all of those apples. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pulp that's left over from those, and I'm going to put those in some mason jars and do my best to make some apple cider vinegar. I have to figure out my lingo because I am in the place where I'm saying I am, I will, and I can. Instead of I'm trying to or I'm about to. So I will do, I am going to make some apple cider vinegar out of the remaining of those scraps instead of discarding the apple peelings and cores. And another thing that I would like to do with that is once those apples are out, my goal is to dehydrate the remaining of those pulps once I get because what happens is if you need to sit the apples in some water, I believe it is, for a week until it turns into an alcohol. And once it reaches that stage, you're going to take them out of there and then you're going to add them. You're going to take all the cores and the skins and the peels and whatever out of the jar or the container. And then you're going to put the lid back on and allow that to ferment. And that's how you get your apple cider vinegar. However, my concern is because I've never done it and I need to do a little bit more research, which is why I don't have a problem letting you guys know that that is an issue for me. Because I believe that if we're not vulnerable and not allowing you guys to know that we don't know everything and we do have to do the research to do it, then you'll think that, oh, it's just easy. They know how to do it. That's why they're doing it. It really isn't. It's a commitment of not being able to sit down on the couch. It's a commitment to not be on my phone watching TikTok videos. It's a commitment that sometimes I can't be on the cell phone talking to my friends and our family. And it's a commitment of being okay with people thinking, oh, well, she doesn't want to talk to me. It's not that. It's just I have goals on where I want to be. And sometimes following those goals doesn't allow me the time to do the things that everyone else is doing. So that's the part of this process that I want to show you guys is that I know it looks easy when we post these pictures up of finished juices or when we post pictures up of the produce and things that we've grown in our garden. But what I really want to do is get in and show you the work, to show you that I don't know. That's why I'm sharing my story with you all, because we've had our ebbs and flows and everything that we're doing, from juicing to gardening to being a mom, to going to school, to being a friend, to being a sister, to being an auntie, to being a daughter. I've had my ebbs and flows, and I promise you none of it has come easy to being an employee, especially. And these last 7 years on this job that I'm currently on has been a true blessing for me, because not only did I grow in a way on a business aspect, I completely grew on a personal aspect in terms of, listen, there's only been myself, SSV, Ara, and then Jay. Oh no, and then those two. But they were only there for a couple months, if even. So 8 women in the 7 years that I worked there. S&S and V and R were all there for, well, S&S were both there for longer than I've been. No, I think this year, my 7 years, I'll cap both of the S&S's that work for the company. And then I know for a fact that I've outworked the Ara and I've outworked the V that works through the company. And we only have one other female working there. It's always been a majority of men that work through my company. If you've never been in an establishment where you are, 90% of the time, I was the only female working there for about a good 4.5 years. The last 4.5 years, it's just been 2 women there. Well, 3 years, 3.5 years, it's just been 2 women. And the last 4.5, I was one of the 2 women that was there. And it's a totally different atmosphere. It is a whole bunch of egos butting up against each other. It is each of them have their own agenda on what needs to be done. And as the only female in there, I have to decipher and prioritize who is going to be done first and be okay with the consequences if I didn't do someone else's job, or be able to have enough confidence to go in and sit the 3 of them down and say, look, I am only one person. Each of you cannot come to me and tell me that this needs to be done by this time. I only have a set amount of machines that I can produce this work on. So we need to come together as a unit and figure out what needs to be done. Everybody is a priority, but we can't be I can't make anybody a priority if all of you guys are telling me that this needs to be done. I need realistic times, realistic dates, and realistic expectations on how to get this done. So working through them, I found, because let me tell you, men are, well, let me rephrase that. Because one of the things that I hate is when I'm on YouTube or social media in general, and we as women are clumped as all one thing. So I don't want to say that. The men that I work with and work for are very, it's not emotional. They're not emotional. They're problem solvers. But when they can't solve their problem because it is now placed in someone else's hand, it becomes a bidding war on each other. And it becomes, I'm going to put this person down to make myself feel a certain way, and so on and so forth. And sometimes it's really hard to get work done because I'm waiting on them to get themselves together before I can figure out what to do next. So many times when that is happening, the other female who works for the company is a customer service rep. So I'll go to her and we'll figure out something until they figure out how they want to move along. Working in this company allowed me to completely get out of my emotions, and the things that I can't control, I am now working. I do therapy, guys. I do it twice a month. I am working with her when we're getting ready to come up with this program that's going to allow me to delve deeper into some issues that were traumatizing throughout my life that still causes triggers to happen or provoke me to react rather than respond. So those are the type of things that I will be working on. If you guys your intentions of the year is to create a positive energy and a positive atmosphere, you will have to get in some type of therapy. And I'm not talking about your friends. I'm not talking about your mother, your boyfriend. No, you need to go to someone who is completely neutral in the situation, someone who has zero perspective other than what you're giving them, someone that's going to challenge the thoughts that you have, someone who's not afraid because you're paying them to do that job. Because a lot of times we go to the people, like I know for me, if somebody pissed me off, I'm like, oh, let me call such and such because I know they're going to understand where I'm coming from. I'm not going to call another person who's going to relate to the person that pissed me off because that's just going to piss me off even more, right? So we're not, like, we choose our friends who we talk to based on how we choose what we're going to eat. Oh, I'm not in the phase, I don't have a taste for that today, so I'm not going to eat that. So we choose how we're going to vent. Oh, well, I'm not in the mood for that, so I'm not going to call that person, but I know they're going to see how I see it, so I'm going to call them, right? So that's why I say having a therapist will allow you, because you're paying for that service, which A means that either you're going to go and waste your money because you're not going to do the work, or you're going to go and actually utilize that money and grow from the experience of going to a therapist. I've been doing it for years. I started my first therapy either the end of 2004 or the beginning of 2005. I was blessed enough to know somebody to introduce me to a very, honestly, if I could afford her today, I would go back to her. I'm not saying that it's not possible that I can't go back to her in the near future, but right now it doesn't fit in my budget and she doesn't go through insurance. But if you guys have insurance, whether it's through your jobs or through the marketplace or whatever the case may be, you can get affordable therapy sessions. I only pay about $40 on my copay. Sometimes I pay $20 and sometimes I don't pay anything. Since COVID, I've had a copay, which is fine by me. But I'm just telling you guys to make sure that you get yourself in some type of therapy, even if it's once a month or once every 2 months, if that's all you can afford. Some type of escape from everybody else to get a different vantage point and a different viewpoint of your life. Somebody that's going to redirect your thought process or challenge your thought process. And, excuse me, I have reflux and GERDs, and sometimes my food will come back on me. But I promise you, that's what I was getting at. That if you make the commitment into doing therapy, and even if you only go once a month or once every 2 months or once every 5 weeks, whatever works for you financially, I promise you, you'll start reallocating your finances to figure out how you can increase the times that you can go. Prior to COVID, I was on a set regimen. Every 2 weeks, I was there. But now it's every 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks, depending on my finances and depending on availability spots where it's going to work with my schedule and my job schedule as well as my daughter's schedule. I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think. We do have a lot of things that I really, really want to do this year. Like I really want to, I used to fish years ago, but I haven't done it. And you know, if you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm probably going to try to meet up with a couple friends of mine in Augusta, Georgia, and purchase us some fishing reels, and I'll have him take us out somewhere there. Excuse me. And teach us both the basics on, relearn both the basics, for me to relearn and to teach my daughter the basics on casting out a fishing line or reeling a fish or whatever, and actually getting that experience of catching a fish so that we can utilize that more, so that if we ever get to the point where we need to go out and get our own meat because we know how to grow in the garden, then we still have that other avenue. I do know how to bluefish crab. It's just as simple as getting the crab basket and putting some whatever your desired meat. I usually do just raw chicken and throwing it in there. But you too have to be mindful of that. We learned through working through the Girl Scouts. It really isn't that difficult. You just got to put in the work and the time and the energy to do it. But I want to get out of the point where we're so reliant on a system to keep us afloat. We're so reliant that, oh, I'll just go to the grocery store and get it. Oh, I'll just do this. A lot of the things that caused me to grow my garden was even before COVID even came in. It was in 2019. I was juicing. I was doing a lot of promotions on my products during 2019. And then Earth Fairs, where I got all of my products from. And I love going there because the produce for the organic fruit produce that they had was priced fairly reasonable. Anything that I needed in terms of making nut milks and making oat milks and getting us food, we were able to get out of the bulk section, so we didn't have to go into the aisles to purchase our foods. And we were able to purchase, if I only wanted like a half a cup of grits for the week, then we only purchased a half a cup of grits for the week. If I only wanted to have oatmeal for 2 days, then I knew how much oatmeal we needed for both of us to have. So I would only purchase what we needed. It was great for our budget because I was able to calculate what we were going to need to spend prior to the week even started. And most of the time we were under budget because of that. However, when Earth Fair decided they were closing before COVID came, I was praying to God like I need an answer. And this guy named Lead Farmer 73 came on my TV on YouTube because I'm an advocate for watching YouTube. I believe that it is exposure to different parts of the world and different people and different ideas. But anyways, this guy by the name of Lead Farmer 73 had a plastic bucket that you get from your like big box stores. And he said that he just threw some soil in there, like 3 or 4 or 5 seeds in there. And he had these beautiful mustard greens. And he was saying it's just as simple as that. And I knew that that was God telling me, there you go. And so from there, we started building. That's when we started going to the Dollar Tree. This is the time of the year to go do it. This is when the Dollar Tree is going to start putting out their potting soil, all of their potting, their gardening gloves, their gardening tools. They're going to be putting out their seed packets. And I promise you, I am a part of a farming group. And if you do not get those now, they will be very few and far in between by the time February and March gets here. So make sure that and they're only $1. So figure out, okay, I only want to do this, this, and this. You can pick up your seeds there. Read the back of the package. It'll tell you how far you need to sow those seeds apart from each other. And you can pick up planters from there. $10 will get you a long way in the Dollar Tree on just your planters and your seeds. And some of the The planters from the Dollar Tree has lasted me 3 or 4 years, and some only lasted me a season, which I don't expect them to last that much. But they got there. I was able to grow kale in their planters. We grew an orange seed in their planters. We started sunflower seeds or sunflowers in those planters. We started some lemon balm in those planters. And to this day, the lemon balms are still thriving in that planter. Unfortunately, because what we had the kale in and where they were sitting, they dry rotted from all of the rain and the sun exposure. But we went out as we saved money for it, and we brought it one at a time throughout the year. And if you catch Lowe's and Home Depot and other big box stores prior to the end of the season, you're able to get some of those things at a discounted price. Sometimes you can and sometimes you won't. We were able to pick up some banister planters this year. You just got to be mindful and keep looking out. And if I see them, I'll come on and make a video about them so that you guys see if your local store has them or whatever the case may be. Set goals, set intentions. I know the main question that I had when I first started out is what should I buy? Whatever you eat. We purchased lemons and lime trees. To me, they're one of the easier things to grow. And then I purchased a peach tree because I love peaches. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get peaches from Harris Teeter at the time. And again, with the whole, with Earth Fair closing down and all of this other stuff, I had to learn how to find ways to keep my monthly budget where I needed it to be. And since putting that garden out, we've been here this summer will make 4 years. And in the 4 years that we've been here, we've been planting almost 3 years out there. And it has been one of the most beneficial things. I thought that when we started planting, our water bill would be completely sky high. Matter of fact, I just realized this weekend when we went out, or last week when we went out to give the dog a bath on last Sunday, that we had left the water hose running probably 2 weeks. But because it wasn't coming out of the hose itself, my water bill really didn't go up anything more, maybe about $2 or $3. Even in the peak of the summertime when we have to get out there and water those plants the way we water them, it still didn't increase. I found some new techniques this year where, let's say you take one of these water bottles and you take an old t-shirt and cut them into strips. You're going to take your lid off. You're going to stick the t-shirt all the way down to the bottom of this. You can weigh it down with something heavy. I don't know. I got to figure that part out. I didn't see anybody doing it, but that's just a thought that came into my mind just now. You can weigh it down on the bottom here. And then they just had the cloth go down into the dirt as far as they wanted the water to water it. And that helped them out. But they used the bigger bottles. Let me see if I can grab one. All right. So they use water bottles about this. Ooh, sorry. About this size here, which is a gallon size. And they did that in their bigger plants. And then use a watering can to continue to water their smaller plants that were in garden in containers. There's many ways that you guys can do this, because I know a lot of it is what's the cost. The cost is however big you make your garden first and foremost, and what you choose to buy. I always say stay on the safe side. If you eat potatoes, potatoes are one of the easiest things you can grow. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you something. So we have a cooler, a styrofoam cooler that I keep on the shelf over there. And we got some sweet potatoes, some onions, and some white potatoes. And here you go. Look at that. Now, this potato is not soft at all. See? Not soft at all. But I'm going to move that a little bit closer. Look at that. So this is ready to be sprouted. I can take this potato and put it in the ground. You got to dig it in there and put it all the way under there. Nothing should be showing. And let this, these right here are already rooted. So the roots will get a little bit longer, and all of these little things will produce more potatoes. And you don't even have to dig them in the ground. I know a lot of you guys are like, well, I don't feel like all of that digging. Cool. At not the Dollar Tree, at Walmart, they have those big blue, I think I have one. Give me 1 second. Now I know a lot of you guys have seen this before. We got some laundry in this, some clean laundry. These little toy buckets that you guys buy with the little rope handles on it. Walmart. Give me 1 second. Let me turn this light off back here. We purchased that from Walmart. Matter of fact, I think we purchased about, I got 4 or 5 sitting on the side of the house that's collecting water, which I need to dump out. $3 and some change, no more than $5, depending on the Walmart you go to. Those are way cheaper than planters. And those size buckets right there, you can put apple trees in there. You can put your peach trees in there. You can put any trees that don't have a long taproot. Like if you're going to get a persimmon tree, maybe year 1, maybe year 2, you can keep a persimmon tree in there. But they have a taproot, and it's a long taproot that's going to, it's kind of like a ground cord. Like when I had my speakers in my car years ago, I had this ground cord that came all the way from the front of the car where the radio stereo was, all the way to the back, and it had to be grounded on some metal inside of the back of that car so that it was keep the, I don't know what it was for, but I know it had to be grounded. And I had an installation done twice, one through a friend of mine when I had my smaller system, and when I upgraded my system with something bigger. That was back when Best Buy used to do the little systems in your car, if y'all remember that. So we went there and we got that done. And I just knew that it had to be grounded, and I knew that I had to go in and check on it every so often to make sure everything was fine. That is the same thing a taproot is. That long taproot is what's going to ground that tree to allow it to produce the fruit that it needs to produce and allow it to grow as big as it needs to grow. What you need?
Nothing.
What you need?
Nothing.
Why are you out here then? Bria,
I was trying to get something on my toy and it wasn't working.
oh, so you're taking a break?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did, but yeah.
Okay. So anyways, that's what the taproots are. You cannot tap those if you have them in plastic containers like that. Now, what you can do is if you want to utilize something like this, you can get you some drill with the big drill. It comes, I don't know how to explain it, and drill some really, really big holes in there, and your tree will actually find that hole and put its tap roots through there if that's what you want to continue to use. But just note that when you get ready to remove that tree, you're going to have to cut that tap root. And once you cut that tap root, it's like starting fresh over with a baby tree. I don't care how big that tree is. You're going to have to nurture that tree back to health to get it to grow and produce fruits. And you have to understand that if that's what you decide to do, that there is a possibility that you will not yield fruit that year. One thing that I would suggest is if you know that you're getting ready to move, like for us, this isn't a permanent location for us. So when we do set up our raised beds outside, they do not have a bottom. So the ones with the long tap roots will have to be replanted and relocated. And the great thing that I love about the raised beds is you can unscrew them while all of your things in there and remove them. And then I can section off each one and make sure that I am delicate about taking the roots off. I've done my research on it. Once you get to that point, I can dig down as far as I can to protect that taproot and to make sure I get as much of it as I can. It's still an intricate process, but if that is something where you don't feel like you want to do it, what I would suggest is there is a way that you can air layer your trees, and you can, there's plenty of YouTube videos online, and which is basically you're taking a sandwich bag. I'm going to use this marshmallow bag that my child left on the table because, you know, kids never put their stuff away. You're going to fill this up with soil. You're going to, like, it's a long process, or it's not a long process. You're going to have to do some work to expose the green parts of the tree, yada, 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 so on and so forth. But basically, air laying is, this is full of soil. This is the tree stalk or the stick or the limb, or whatever it's called that you're going to put it on. And you're going to wrap it around with foil. I'm at the plastic bag with soil. Wrap that around with foil so that no sunlight can get in there. And then you're going to tape, 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 tape. Ooh, sorry, y'all. And while you're taping, or once you're done, it's going to sit like a mashed potato would. What are you doing? It's going to sit like a baked potato would in the oven until its roots produce. You know, you're not producing no roots in the oven with the baked potato, but you know what I mean. You can put a baked potato in the microwave for 2 or 3 minutes and have a soft potato. But if you put that thing in that oven at 350 degrees, you know it's going to take anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to get it. So that's kind of like air layering. It's going to take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, if not a month. I don't know. I've never done it. There's videos out there, again, like I said, so that those roots can establish. You're going to cut that off at the base of that. So let's say that this still has the thing wrapped around it. This is the part, this is a tree right here. You're going to cut, and say you got your air layer up to this metal point. So you want to cut behind that metal point where the eraser is, and that will be what you place in the ground in the bucket with your roots in there. And that's how most of these trees that you guys purchase from big box stores are made. You can do 2 or 3 of those if your tree's mature enough to handle that. And you will start getting a greater yield off of those than you would once you cut that taproot off, until it establishes itself back again in its new environment. Also, when you relocate those type of plants, just know that you're going to have an issue with your food producing immediately. So don't get discouraged on that end as well. I'm going to move y'all down just a little bit because somehow or another it moved. As you can see, this guy right here is it's my dehydrator. It's an LEM dehydrator. I don't know if it was when my taxes came in or when I got my stimulus check last year. I purchased that. And it was probably one of the best purchases I made. We literally don't throw anything away. So if I'm in the refrigerator and I see that a half a tomato is going bad, no, I don't dehydrate tomatoes. Although the smaller tomatoes, they make really great for sun-dried tomatoes in the dehydrator. You're going to have to put them with some oil and stuff in afterwards. Whatever your seasoning that you want on there. I try to do my seasonings when I'm dehydrating them and just adding them into whatever oil that you prefer. Again, plenty of videos on YouTube and online, and plenty of recipes if you Google them online to help you out. For those of you guys that are just starting. But anywho, we throw everything in there. So if I'm dehydrating beets and I got the pulp, I'm going to dehydrate that pulp too. Now that we have that and we make juice, whatever pulp's left over from that juice, I'm dehydrating it. Whether we can eat it or not, that's neither here nor there. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if you're gardening, the best way to feed your garden is through the scraps from your house. And so if I have all organic produce, why not take that and dehydrate all of my scraps and feed that back to my garden? So I'm feeding it back, and I don't dehydrate on a high temperature. I usually have this thing no higher than 130 degrees. Maybe, depends on what we're dehydrating. I think there's a couple things like potatoes or things that really doesn't have a lot of nutritional value. I will put those on a higher temperature, but when I'm utilizing this dehydrator, I want to emulate as much as the temperature of the sun as I possibly can when dehydrating those, because I want to keep as much of the nutritional value as I can. We purchased some dill and some thyme the other day at the grocery store. I'm going to give them to the end of this weekend, maybe the end of Monday. If I don't think I have that long on the dill, so I may have to throw that whole thing in there. I'm not even going to bring it over here because y'all going to laugh at how sad it looks. But I did realize that it needed watering today. And once I placed it in front of the window today, a few of the pieces did come out. So I think what I'm going to have to do is thin it out and take off all of the ones that's just not going to produce anything. But I'm not going to get rid of all of the green because of photosynthesis. And I will allow that plant to continue to bloom. And the more it bloom, I'll just keep making more dry herbs. Nothing's better than the herbs you're going to get out of your garden. No, they don't have preservatives in them. I need to get some oxygen packs to put into my food. And if you guys are asking, what are oxygen packs? Give me a second, because we have some beef jerky we got from the store. Oh, no. Y'all got me taking all my stuff down. All right. Nope, that's beets. Here we go. Here we go. I haven't purchased these yet, but water. There we go. I'm not talking to you, Bree.
Yeah, I know.
Then why are you asking what?
What do you have?
Nosy Posy. I swear. I have beef jerky, Bree. And I'm showing them. I know you guys have seen these in like your beef jerkies. I'm trying to think. There's another food that I eat that pepperonis. These are oxygen. What are they called? Oxygen absorbers. And basically what they do is they take the oxygen out of your jars and out of your bags so that they can preserve your food a lot longer. So if you're going to do these things and dehydrate, make sure you get some. The reason that I haven't put those in there yet is we eat a lot of those, so they don't last that long. It's not like we're putting them up there to eat 2 to 3, 4 months down the line from now. Some of those have been up there, but the ones that have been up there that long, they actually don't require the oxygen absorbers, or we don't go in them, period. So it's not really that big of an issue. I find that when you're dehydrating food, it is the foods that you're going to constantly be in and out of that you need to add the oxygen absorbers in there, because those are the ones that do mold over a lot faster. I really didn't want to make this video that long, but I started talking and that's just what it is. If you're wondering where I got that from, some camping store. Oh, I'm on my phone. I don't remember the name of it. If you ask me in the comments, I'll let you know. I'm trying to think what else we do. The juicers that we have is an Omega juicer. We purchased that from Amazon, I believe it was. I wanted to get it from the regular store, but no one had it in the store. So I think we got that from Amazon-ish. I don't know. We got it from somewhere. I couldn't even remember. We've had that juicer for almost 6 years now, y'all. Now, we did have another juicer, which is, I don't know. It's the fast juicer, the one that you just put in this. We got that off of my neighbor as a Breville juicer that we purchased off of my neighbor next door. Her husband had passed away. He had been sick for many years, and he passed away from an infection. And she was selling the house, and she just wanted to get rid of as much as she can. And we honestly got a sweet deal off of it. The juicer was $500. I got the juicer, a food processor, and a couple more things for $150 is what she was asking for. And it was so sweet of her, because honestly, we were out there talking with her, and she wanted to know if I had some juice. But one of the parts on my juicer that locks it in so that they can juice had broken off. And the part that I needed was on back order. And she was so sweet enough to say, well, you can utilize it for right now, but before I leave, just pay me the money. I ended up finding a way to get the money that weekend and make sure I paid her, and I made her some juice from it. I did use that for a time period because that's all I had the juice on. One of the things I don't like about it is when you're utilizing those fast juicers, you're not getting the maximum capacity of juice out of those. So what I found was that I needed to take all of the pulp and put them in like a cheesecloth or a similar cloth. We don't use cheesecloth. A, I think they're expensive for what you get. And B, there's better material that you can get at the fabric store that has no dyes, no bleaches, no anything in them. I can't remember it, and I don't have any pieces here, but I will, if you ask me about it in the comment section, I'll attach that in there as well. And basically I found that I had to put that in there and milk it, or a milk bag. If you have a milk bag, nut milk bag, you can get those. They're online. You can buy those on Amazon, pretty inexpensive as well. I found that a lot of things required me, when I utilized that type of juicer, I had to go back in and re-squeeze it, which is what I will be using. When I said to you guys that I'm going to be making the apple juice, I will be using that faster juicer because that works better on juicing the apples. And I don't care about the apples being a little bit moist on those, the pulp, because that will enhance the apple cider vinegar that I'm going to get. So, anywho, I got to pick up some more of that cloth in the next week or two before, probably within this week. Or maybe I'll go tomorrow because we don't have anything serious to do, and it's right down the road. And we'll pick up some more of that, and then I'll do a video showing you guys what I'm talking about. So that we can get the apple cider vinegar going, because I'm going to need to put that on top of there as well. Hopefully my Scopinons in the freezer are still good. because I would actually utilize some of that cloth with some rubber bands or something to put on top of it, because I want to turn my scopolamine into some wine, and I need to pick up 2 half-gallon mason jars so that I can get that to do as well. I'm not going to stay on here long. As you guys can hear, my dog needs to go out. I think I've covered everything. I've covered the dehydrator and where we got that from. I've covered the temperatures that I tend to run everything on there. This is a 10 tray one. Probably the best. If I could have 2, I would, but I don't have the space for 2. What else do we have? The garden, Dollar Tree, for a lot of your supplies if this is your first year. I will show you the planters that I have out there when I start doing other videos outdoors. Most of those black planters and the terracotta color planters we got from Lowe's and Home Depot, depending on who had them at a better price. And lucky for us, Lowe's and Home Depot are usually across the street from each other. So I knew that I would go to the one that was harder to get in and out of first. And no, I will go to the easier one first and go to the hard to get out of one second, so that if that was cheaper, we just stayed there. But if it wasn't, then we went to the other place that was easier to get in and out of last. Walmart do carry those. I find that Walmart for the bigger planters are a little bit more expensive than Lowe's and Home Depot, because they really don't sell products that allow you to. Although Walmart do sell fruit trees, you got to catch them when you can. And get your herbs, guys. Don't be afraid. Even if you just go in there and purchase the herbs that they have available and you let them sell on your porch for 2 to 3 weeks, get them right when the, what do you call it? Right after your last frost, before it gets too hot. Before the weather gets up into the 90s, like 95, 98. That's when you want to get your herbs. So generally, most people have anywhere between 3.5 weeks to about 6 weeks of grow time. And in that time, you want to let those herbs grow as big as they can. If you're in an environment where you can dry out your herbs by hanging them up, we aren't. I have a dog, so there's no way that I can hang my herbs up here and not guarantee that he's going to not get hair on them. Hence the dehydrator. And again, at 130 degrees. Now, one of the things that I can do is I can lay all of my herbs in there. And I'll show you guys, because this actually has a lock on it. So I'll just lift this up like so. And perfect point is I put some onions in here a few weeks ago. And I just let them dehydrate on their own. No fire. Oh, sorry. All right, it don't want to stay. No, nothing. I just let the regular house temperature. And honestly, this is the perfect time of the year for us, because of the fact that it is the winter time and the house is really, really dry. So I find for me and my daughter, we have to drink a lot of water during the time, especially on the weekends when we're here most of the day. Oftentimes I have to put a pot of water on the stove and boil some water so that we can get some moisture in the air. Give me 1 second. I need a sip of something to drink. And that works out. I'm not even utilizing any heat to do that. I think one of the reasons that my dill is drying so fast is because the house is hot. So I think what I will do is put another piece of parchment paper in there on another shelf, cut off the dill that's already dried out. Actually, I can do that while you guys are watching if you want. So, I didn't plan on making a video right now, but I guess we are. I'm going to move this here. Excuse my little bit of dishes I gotta put away. I'm gonna put all of my jars back up here right quick. I'm gonna slide this back, and if you see this white coating on the stove, it's because we use some, some baking soda to clean off the stove today. All right, so I'm going to set this here. I'm going to grab some parchment paper right quick, y'all. I'm going to show you just how easy this is. I had zero intentions of doing this today. I'm going to shut my door back here. And excuse my Christmas decorations. Yes, we still have them up. All right, so, well, part up. Everything's down except for the Christmas tree and the 2 door decorations. And we had this entire table covered, all of our shelves covered in Christmas decorations. I just haven't gotten to that because there's other things that's more important to take care of. Alright, it's not even, but it's there. And we don't have a lot, so I'm going to show you. It's really quick. Alright, so I'm going to sit that there. So here's what I did, guys. You see the water's not touching the bottom of this planter, and I didn't want to plant it in something else. But then this allows me to sit this in another mason jar and keep using this water over and over again. Again, remember what I said about preservation, preserving your water so that you don't feel like you're spending a lot of money on watering your gardening. So this is one of the tricks that I found that works for me. You all don't have to do that, but I do try to use it until, I don't know. You can't keep using it if it doesn't evaporate, because what's going to happen is the water's going to turn into like stinky water, and that's not what you want to utilize to rehydrate your plants with. But I'm going to lower this back down for a second, and I want to show you guys what I was talking about. You see this one here that spruced back up today when I watered it. There's a few pieces on here that I can leave, but as you guys can see, this side here is dehydrated almost already, because again, this house is very, very dry. So one of the ways that I can allow this plant to survive is to take my handy dandy scissors that we use on almost everything herbs, and I am going to, I wish you guys were here because you would be able to feel how dry this is already. And basically, I'm just going to cut them off like this, and I am going to continue to add those onto, you guys can't see, there you go. So I'm going to continue to add those onto this tray. I'm going to slide this over here so that you guys can see the herbs there. And you can see where not to cut. And so basically, once they shrivel up, you see how tiny and thin that is? You're not going to get much water life back into those type of plants, and that's something you have to be observant about. It's just not going to happen. So those are things that I can go ahead and cut off. And again, like I said, I'm just going to sit this inside of the dehydrator and allow it to dry on its own. The best way to preserve the nutrients inside of your herbs is to allow them to dry on their own. So this is actually perfect. I didn't even think about that until I was on with you guys. All right, hey you guys. I know that's what I sound like when I say you guys from the Goonies. I might be aging myself. Sorry to my younger crowd if you don't know what that means. Check out the movie The Goonies. All-time favorite. Hey Chuck. My name is Chuck. Chocolate. Chocolate. I don't know, y'all. That was my favorite movie and my favorite character in there. Him and the other kid that had to use the inhaler. Favorite 2 people. Alright. And I'm going to come back and do another video because I want to show you guys that this plant will survive if I continue to water it and paying attention to it. And since I'm at that doggone sink every single day washing dishes, I don't think that would be really hard to do. Oops, I didn't mean to cut that piece, but it'll be okay. It's okay. It's all right. I got something that you will like. I got the right temperature. I know that ain't the same song, y'all. And then, if you actually are growing these at home, one of the things that you can do if you have too many is you can make little care packages. Like I find this really neat to do for my daughter's teachers as little gifts. Because you know, these are things that nobody else is going to purchase for them. So you can dehydrate some stuff from home, or you can get this plant where you can get it going really good. And this is the perfect time of the year to do that if you have you want to do these things at home. And create little starter kits for them. so that you can get them started off in the spring on the gardening. I know it seems like I'm cutting a lot, but I'm cutting off the pieces that I know will not get any, will not be able to retain any water once the water has come in there. And I want to slow down the plant from dying off completely. And by removing all of these dead pieces, it allows the plant to put its energy back into the spaces that are still half alive and regrow those. So that's one of the reasons that I'm cutting this as thin as I am. I know a lot of you guys was like, well, who needs that much dill? I didn't think I needed that much dill either until I started gardening and you start finding recipes to utilize these things in. All right. So I got a couple more, and it smells so good. It's nothing like homemade stuff. If you like ranch dressing, then you need a lot of dill. If you got a family of 3 or more, you need a lot of dill. It's just 2 of us in here. And I can promise you that this dill that I cut off right here, if I want to make some roasted potatoes with some dill, some cilantro, let's see. No, I don't think I would use the cilantro. What you call it? I need to go out there and cut some of that back as well. What is it called? Bree,
Yeah?
what's the other plants we have out there that look like Christmas trees?
Rosemary.
Rosemary. There we go. Whew, we made a rosemary butter. And you can take these right here and you can make you some dill butter. You can freeze in the freezer to add to recipes like salmon. Oh, or some potatoes. Oh, I promise you, y'all, there's so much you can do with these things. All right. So, this is what I have left of that. What are you getting? Beef jerky? And I'm going to put this back in the window and the rest of that will fall off, which is fine. But all of this little stuff, these light area things, I promise you, I'm going to come back and do another video and show you that these guys have moved up. Oh, I want to go in. Woo, sorry. Making a mess. Welcome to the real world. All right, you see how this piece is sitting here? I want to get that out of the water because you don't want that to be in your water, Connor. Enough. And this piece that is attached to the side of the jar, you want to get those out of the water because you don't want that to start turning stuff and making it moldy. But there we go, guys. I know I didn't get all the way in there because I don't want to start cutting things that I need. I'm sure I can go in and pull some of those off, but it's okay. Connor. All right, guys, so that is it. We got that prune back. I'm super excited. I'm going to put this guy back on the shelf over here. All right. I'm going to look at this right quick. This is our time, guys. These are all we have in there. And that's what I said. You don't have to have a house full of vegetables or a house full of garden. Start out with what you have. We needed dill and time to put in some potatoes that we purchased that I'll cook tomorrow morning for breakfast. Oh, I'll move it back up. Okay, so we needed those things and it was cheaper. So if we went to the dried place, the dried herbs, you know, the spice aisle, for some time, it cost $4.39 at the store that we were in. And for the dill, it was about $5.79 for the dill that in the store that we were in. Or how much were these? 2 for $5?
Yeah, I think.
The small plants were 2 for $5. I'm just taking this paper towel and dabbing all of the water that fell onto this parchment paper, so we're not dehydrating that in there.
Are you about to dehydrate?
I'm just about to sit this in there. You want to see my dehydrated onions?
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to move.
Okay.
Pick up that bag that you keep tripping over. Uh-oh, sorry, y'all. Alright, I'm gonna move y'all back here for a second so I can open up this dehydrator. See my baby art on the refrigerator. What, these are the onions. Sure.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay. They're like onion crisp.
Yep. They taste good?
I mean, they don't taste like anything, though.
Uh-oh.
That gives good piece.
I don't want that piece. I'm gonna actually turn these on. Hey, so I'm still. Oh, that's actually really good.
Yeah, it actually tastes like onions when you chew more.
So this came out really good. I mean, this actually bounced back really good today. So I'm gonna put this guy back in the window. Probably by next week or so, I'm gonna cut back on this as well, so that it has enough room to grow. Because what my goal is I don't want to replant these out of this. I want to keep letting it grow until I don't get anything else anymore, or until they're not producing as pungent of a flavor as they would had I what you call it. I'm gonna get some new parchment paper. Because one of the things you can see, herbs aren't like, I don't know. This is how I feel, and this is my experience. I don't know everything. I find, for me personally, that herbs aren't like fruit trees that will keep producing fruit year after year, and the flavors will be great as long as you're taking care of them. I find herbs to be something that you keep growing, and eventually, if you're still growing them from the same pot, that the flavor and the smells will become less. And so you need to replace those. But that's just my opinion. And like when they say opinions are like what? So that's in my mind, they all stink, right? Sorry about the noise. So again, I'm not teaching y'all anything. I am just showing you guys how we do things here at my house. If you find something that I've done and you liked it, cool, follow it and try it out. If you find something and you don't think what I'm doing is working well, then cool. Don't try that out either. I'm not reading the comments because I don't do the negative back and forth. But feel free to do it. You must in the comment section. I will go through and eliminate and remove anyone who is not here for a positive experience, because that is what I'm trying to give you all. Other than that, that is it. I am going to go ahead and place this guy into the dehydrator. I'm sure this isn't right. Again, like I said, I have read 0 directions on how to do this. This is what I tell you guys all the time. It is a learning experience for me as well. It's not something that I have all the answers to. I will sit that in there, and if that is not right, I will fix it tomorrow, but not tonight, because I have other things on my plate to do, and that wasn't something that I wanted to do. But while I was on this video with you all, I wanted to show you how easy it was for me to just cut back some of that deal. And honestly, you can go right to your grocery store right now. There is a lot of grocery stores that have fresh dill in those pots. It came in that pot right there by itself, and there was a plastic bag around it, and it says, don't fret. Something my daughter said it said. All right, guys, and it's as simple as that. Oh, it said don't stress, just add water, and that's what we did today when I finally picked them up, because we actually have a I'll show you right over here. We actually have a grow light right here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to turn it on. It may be a little bright. See? And I had them sitting up here on top of the coffee pot to see if that would help. But I didn't even think that they needed to be watered because we had just purchased them from the grocery store. So I wasn't even thinking that it needed to be watered. Excuse my mess, y'all. I got to put dishes away. Just in a second bag. Give me a second, y'all. All right. There we go. I'm going to lower you down just a little bit. Kana. Bree. Never mind, I'm about to get off. Alright guys, so basically I wanted to show you how easy that was. It was pretty simple. It would have taken me a lot less time if I was not on the video talking with you all and showing you how to do it. Even though I don't think that 10-15 minutes was much out of my day. Honestly, you can watch a YouTube video while you're doing it. If you want to watch TikToks, you can watch a TikTok and keep strolling up. And each TikTok is about 30 to 45 seconds long, which is enough time for you to cut 1 or 2 pieces off and scroll up to the next one, and so on and so forth. It's really not that hard. If you're one of those people that love social media and feel that that is something that you want to do, and that this is taken away from it, I'm sure all of you guys multitask. And don't tell me you don't, because I know 90% of you guys take your phone in the bathroom while you're utilizing the bathroom, which is multitasking. Anywho, so if you're doing that, it's as simple as that. It didn't take much. It took me maybe 25 cents, if even a 5 cents worth of a piece of parchment paper and a rack. Bree, I'll take it. I'll get him. Kana, enough. It took me 25 cents of a piece of parchment paper, and you don't even have to have a dehydrator. If you have an oven, put it on your lowest temperature and put it in there. And if you don't want to do that, turn your oven on to like 450 degrees. Let it sit on there for about 15-20 minutes, or let it heat up to that point. Turn your oven off. You can keep open your oven up just a little bit and let some of the hot air come out, and then stick your racks, especially your herbs. You can stick a baking sheet rack or a piece of parchment paper on top of some type of baking pan and put that right in there, and I promise you it'll dehydrate those plants. You can do that 2 or 3 times. If you want yours to be at 130 degree temperature, and you live in a space where you can put them, like say you have a covered back porch with screens on the back of it, you can honestly go sit them out there and do that. You can lay a piece of paper towel on top of it to keep all the dust from outside falling on them. Simple Living Alaska is one of the videos I was telling you of, one of the families that I watch on YouTube. They do a lot of their herb drying outside, and she does a lot of them inside, like around her kitchen. A lot of the reason that she can afford to do so is they have a wood stove that they heat their home up with, which again dries out their cabin a lot, so it allows them that ability and the affordability to do so. Unfortunately, with our dogs, that's probably something I need to watch, because they do have 2 dogs as well, but our dog is long-haired and their dogs aren't. But there are many ways of you guys being able to do this. Don't give up. Please don't give up, because it's going to get to a point where we're all going to have to start growing. And the reason that I'm sharing my videos with you all isn't so that I can show off anything. It's to show you that it's easy, to show you that it's possible, and so that we can all help each other. Because I may be growing apples and oranges and whatever over here, but you may have okra and whatever else that I didn't grow. And then we can barter off our foods. You may be able to raise chickens in your area where I can't in the city where I live at. So then I need to find somebody with chickens, and you can use the chicken poop as fertilizer. So I'll say, hey, I'll give you some of my if you give me some of your chicken poops, if you want some of the berries, or I can make you jam, or I can do whatever. A barter system on the stuff that we have, or I can say you could come out and pick out a basket full of fresh fruit, or I'll cut you some elderberries and make you an elderberry syrup whenever I'm done producing those type of fruits. There's so much you can do, and I want it to be where we're all contributing to our own lifestyle. I just watched Live Farmer 73 who's come down with something. He hasn't stated that he has COVID or anything like that, but he's had the sniffles and a little bit of cough and the throat clear today. And I watch him sit there with his honey from his own bees. I watch him sit there with his own elderberries from his own trees, which we do have an elderberry tree as well. We don't have a hive. I need to check back with the front office here again, because I say we live in the trailer park. So we do have to pay lot rent here. And because the land is not ours, we do have to get permission and make sure that it's safe for the entire community and not just us to raise pollinator bees. I forgot I had the ice maker going. It scared me. So we do have to make sure that the entire community is safe, because we have a lot of kids running through here. I don't want it to be something where they're running through and they knock down the boxes and they end up getting stung. Again, that's what I was talking about in the first video. It's when you own a home, and one of the reasons that we purchased, or one of the reasons that we're here first, is so that we understand the ins and outs, the ebbs and flows of owning a home. And part of that is understanding that if something happens on your property, you are responsible for that. If you don't have homeowners insurance, it's even more of your responsibility. So those type of things is what I need to consider when living here, because I can't control who does and who doesn't come on this property. I have to be a little bit more mindful of the fact that of those type of things. I would love to grow honeybees here and have pollinators and have my own honey, but I have to find a secure and safe way of doing it to not only protect myself, but protect the community in case a kid runs into the yard. I don't want them to accidentally run over it. So those are the type of things that I need to consider. And this is what I'm talking about to you all when you're getting ready to plant your gardens. I need you to consider the possibilities of what can go wrong in addition to what's going right. And I don't want you to focus on the wrong, but I want you to be aware of it so you have a plan for if something does go wrong. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to get out of here. I thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace, love, and blessings. Bye.